so months ago, I covered this guy called the Completionist, right? Like, this was a well-beloved, like, gaming YouTuber, like, his whole gimmick was, like, I play video games to 100%, whatever. So
like, this guy's one of the second-generation old OG YouTubers. This is not, like,
yeah, this is, like, John era like, gaming tuber, yeah.
But massive, like, massive and beloved. And then...
But have we heard from his wife as to whether or not she was a completionist?
He has 100% of that one.
Yeah, I don't think he 100%.
He looks at all his games. He's like,
no, but like
his wife, it's like still zero.
His whole situation was so weird because it's like he was one of the like one guys. Like usually I cover guys like Logan Paul and shit who are like unanimously like disliked by our community. Yeah. So it's like it's pretty easy to like socially gain capital off of it. Like if people want to like go to the most negative route of why you're covering a video, it's like, oh, you're only covering this guy to gain like viewership or something. I'm like, yeah, he's probably like the easiest target, but this guy's like well beloved or whatever, right? So what happened was this speed running like YouTuber by the name of Carl Jobst, you guys probably know as he's like a really like in-depth guy that covers speed running, really beloved by the community for his investigative reporting. He calls me like one night on like Discord. He's like, bro, I got this crazy story about this guy in a charity situation. And I'm like, by the way, this is like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, all right, because you're Carl, I'll believe you. Let me get into a call right now. It's fuck sleep right now. So I get into this call with him, and he's like, this completionist dude.
It's crazy how much business nowadays is done on Discord, by the way.
Dude, it's like, it's literally like the fucking Illuminati of the internet, bro. Like, everyone converges on that shit. But yeah, he brings up the story to me, this like charity fundraising event. And he's like, bro, somebody tipped him off, and it was anonymous. Like, it has to be anonymous. So he got tipped off. And then we started looking through IRS public filings. So this guy raised $660,000 in like U.S. like currency for this charity, for his charity, the Open Hand Foundation.
And over what period?
Over around 9 to 10 years. So that was raised.
A decade.
And this guy's been like, when we say this guy existed before, maybe like before Cody, before like this is an OG.
Before I ever started making any fucking money. That's for sure.
2010-ish, 11 YouTuber, right?
Yeah.
Like he's an OG fucking YouTuber and like beloved in the community.
And these guys are like the Jesus Christ of YouTube, right? Like you can't, if you're gonna go up against people like this, you better fucking make sure and that's what I said to like Carl. I say this to like Coffeezel. I say this to everyone I work with. I'm like, you got to have your T's crossed, your I's dotted, because when you're going up against Jesus Christ, bro, you got to make sure if you're calling somebody like a fucking fake veteran or like, you know, you better make sure you have everything on the table.
What the fuck did you grab me for, dude?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so
we were cool, man.
I mean, but like he brings up the story.
I showed you Bob's and Vagine.
I gotta thank him for that. He made my life good. But like he brings up the story to me, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of crazy, right? Like, okay, so we look through public IRS documentation, and the guy raises money, but he never contributes a dime of it. So I'm like, all right, listen,
So he doesn't contribute it or report it personally?
Well, he reports it publicly, like he raised the money, but he doesn't, like you have to, in the IRS filing.
But on his own income, he doesn't report it.
He doesn't report it, but like in the IRS filing, like there's a contribution like line where you have to tell how much money you gave to a charity. So in these like public streams, like these public like indie land streams that he's doing, like he has these public events where he's like bringing big developers and people. He's like, I'm raising money for the Alzheimer's Foundation, like literally naming actual charities.
Because it was his mom, right?
Yeah, well, it was, so the whole charity was built in honor of his mother. So, okay, full context. The charity that I'm talking about that he had was the Open Hand Foundation. And the Open Hand Foundation was built because his mother passed away through like Alzheimer's. And that was why it was built. So when Carl brought this story to me, I'm like, dude, this guy built a charity in his mother's name. Like, I believe a lot of pessimistic shit, but this is a lot. So when we looked through IRS filings, 10 years, not a single dollar was given. So we're just like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, there's gotta be a method to the madness, right? So Carl's like, he's willing to go with the story. I'm like, hold on, Carl, let's get him on a call first. Let's talk to him about it. So we get him on like a call, and so the timeline for it is like 2 p.m. I'm like, hey, Gerard, the completionist, are you ready for a call? He's like, yeah, give me a few hours. So we give him a few hours. In my head, I'm like, he's probably talking to a lawyer. He's not going to take this call. It's a lost cause. But surprise, a la Intervented, he was like, he's going to take the fucking call. So I'm like, all right, sure, okay, sweet.
Which
let's
probably cut off. That was a weird surprise too. Like he actually took it, because that's that weird balance where like you're not gonna take the call if you're like,
dude. If I was doing some fucked up shit and a lawyer, like I would call my lawyer. I'm like, hey, should I take a call with like fucking YouTubers? My lawyer would be like, fuck no.
Yeah. This dude deep dives everything.
6 million subscribers want to know right now.
So like his lawyer was just like, I guess his lawyer was like, yeah, it's cool, take the fucking call. So he takes the call, and me and Carl are playing like good cop, bad cop and shit. And admittedly, I'm like too nice in this situation. Bro, he admits to everything. The money is fucking there. It's never donated. I'm like, bro, you're committing actual charitable fraud, right? And like we recorded this whole hour and a half call. We released a series of videos. He makes the shittiest response in YouTube fucking history. Like we're talking like, bro,
I watched Oompaville, prior guest of the podcast. I've watched his video on it, and my God.
I don't even know the response, so I'm looking. I'm looking forward to
with
this.
Oompaville. Like when I like so.
You
Caleb,
and Oompa are friends. Like
me and
you
Oompa are friends.
Caleb.
He's my podcast co-host on the Some Ordinary podcast. We're great homies. When I brought the situation up, like people don't understand, we're like crackheads on the internet, right? Like people will look at me and be like, this guy just fucks around and talks about stupid shit. But we like. Say what you will. I know a fair bit about business, taxes, and like charities and like how to report shit and like how to move money around, right?
Like when you say you're going to donate to a charity, do it.
Then I donate to the fucking charity. So me and Oompa were like,
really like 1,000 IQ plays.
Bro, he brings up this, so like this completionist guy, after a month of reporting on him, brings out this shitty response where he's like, I'm going to threaten to sue these guys. I'm like, well, fucking do it. I don't care. Like, you know that I got the money to fucking take you to court. Let's fucking go. And then like, he brings no receipts to the table, no actual receipt. So like, I watched this response video at like 1 a.m. Bro, I'm harder than a fucking priest on fucking Sunday. Okay. I'm ready to go. Okay. I'm ready to invade. Okay? Because it is the shittiest response in history. Okay,
I'm moving down here soon.
I'm ready to breach
San Antonio,
okay?
really, you should look into it. It's pretty
Dude, I'm like ready to breach into the. I'm like a fucking full like commando. I'm like, this is the shittiest response ever. I'm like about to breach in. This guy gave me every in, provided no receipt, no nothing. The guy still hasn't provided any receipt whatsoever. It's like. The guy amassed donation money, didn't give it away. And then like his community, who's like a bunch of children, it's like, well, you're farming like drama. I'm like, last I checked, financial scams were not drama, kid. They were like, people go to jail for this shit, right? And it's the same thing I say to like any influencer stuff too. It's like one of my favorite types of content is working with people like Coffee, Carl on like financial scams, because it's like, as somebody in this space, and I'm not going to say that I'm like Logan Paul money, like I'm not a billionaire or anything or close to it. But I've done well for myself, and I can always say, I'm like, listen, you can get by without scamming the fucking audience, right? Like, Jesus Christ.